With 5 wins apiece, Ryan Villopoto and Ben Townley have done nearly everything right in 2007. Unfortunately for these teammates who have battled each other to every win, only one rider gets to be the Motocross Lights champion. With a 19-point lead, Villopoto has the edge. Townley will need a little luck. A season of great moments and races ends here in San Bernardino, California. Round 12 is next on Speed. Round 12 of the 2007 AMA Toyota Motocross Championship, the Giant RV Motocross National from San Bernardino, California. Glen Helen Raceway is the site for the season finale. And everybody is pumped up to watch Ben Townley and Ryan Villopoto fight it out for the championship. Hi everybody, I'm Ralph Shaheen alongside multi-time national champion Jeff Emig, and Aaron Bates is here with us as well. Here's a good look at Ben Townley out on the race course earlier this weekend, and Jeff, it comes down to these two Monster Energy Pro Circuit riders.
It is all about Ben Townley, Ryan Villopoto. Both have 5 overall wins. Ryan Villopoto with 13 moto wins, and Ben Townley has 7.
Well, for Townley, it all started to come unraveled at the last round a week ago at Freestone in Texas. You can see him on the ground. He battled back to finish 6th. Villopoto went on to win moto number 2 and the overall. And now we head to Glen Helen, and here's a look at the difference in the points, and it was at Texas where Townley lost a lot of points towards the championship. So Villopoto comes in here with the biggest lead he's seen all year. Here's Aaron Bates with Brock Hepler.
We all know what the big stories are here at this point of the season, but somebody that has been making headlines just lately, Brock Hepler, the number 60 aboard the factory Yamaha, and also celebrating his very first overall podium finish last weekend. Brock, congratulations to you on that, but you've had a rough history here at this track. What have you done to prepare yourself for this weekend?
Well, Yamaha and I came out 2 weeks ago. We did a few days of testing, and I feel comfortable on the track. Practice went good this morning, so I think I can have a good result like last weekend.
It's been a tough go here. He has never made an overall podium here at Glen Helen, but he's hoping to finish the season off right.
He definitely has been on the rise lately and put together some pretty good motos.
Well, he was definitely off most of the season, and now here he's trying to make up for it at the end of the season. Done a good job.
Well, let's show you the highlights from moto number 1, which has already been run here today. There's a look at the man on top of the points, trying to hang on to that number 1, Ryan Villopoto, getting out to an early lead, but coming along with him was Ben Townley, trying to keep this thing interesting.
And this start here at Glen Helen is unreal, long, fast, big, Daytona-style first turn, and this second turn's a big sweeper straight up the hills. Glen Helen this year, they added a lot of hills into this track. It was tough.
Townley was certainly not going to just let Villopoto walk away with this one.
No, not at all. He has put up a great fight all season. Both of these riders really battled hard for that championship. Ryan Villopoto, though, really halfway through this moto, he poured it on.
The biggest thing about this championship was the rider that made the least amount of mistakes, Jeff, we said it all season long, would be the one that would end up taking the championship home. And here in moto number 1, mistakes again would cost Ben Townley.
Watch Townley here, has the line, makes a small mistake, loses his balance. Both the Pro Circuit riders, this is the steepest, gnarliest, roughest hill on the track. Just absolute drag race to the top. And the champion comes out on top.
It only takes a small mistake when the competition is this tough. And then there was this moment when Josh Grant, while running 3rd, had this huge crash, and he was down.
He was down. He was down for a long time. He actually had a great moto going, showed a lot of speed, was really close to the leaders when he did go down.
Back to the action of the moto. And this was a fight for 7th. Martin Davalos, Nico Izzi, and Jake Weimer all battling here.
And it's great to see these young riders here. These guys have gotten better all season long and really started creeping up into the top 10 and up into the top 5, showing a lot of determination. And these guys were bar to bar all day long also.
Nico Izzi's on the yellow 341, the Suzuki. The 73 is Jake Weimer, and the 577 in front of these two is Martin Davalos. Davalos holding down 6th at this stage of the race while these two continue to fight for 7th position. As the race continued on down the hill, boy, Davalos and Weimer ended up having at it as they went on to battle over 6th position.
This is that same section where Weimer had the line on Izzy, used the exact same line to get past Davalos.
Using the actual sides of the cliffs like a big berm to fend yourself off.
The San Bernardino Mountains were host to a really good motocross event this weekend.
Back up front, total feeling of weightlessness as he flies over the hills here at Glen Helen. And Ryan Villapoto would go on to take the win from Ben Townley and extend the points lead even further.
And remember, Ryan Villapoto does not have to beat Ben Townley today in either moto because he's got such a large points gap to win the championship.
So moto number 1 goes to Ryan Villapoto, that much closer to holding on to that number 1 plate for the 2007 championship. Taking a look at the Toyota Trucks unofficial results out of moto number 1, the Monster Energy Pro Circuit team once again taking the top 3 spots on the podium this year. Well, let's head down to the victory podium. Here's Aaron Bates with Ryan Villapoto.
Ryan Villapoto charging when he needs to. Ryan, 1 moto left to go. Obviously, the confidence is running high. Is there anything different you're going to do for that next moto?
Just don't want to take it too easy. I don't want to give up that much, and just want to get through that second moto, and just second or first, whatever, just play it safe, and want to put a good show on and have a good race with Ben too, and just can't thank my team enough. Monster Pro Circuit, Kawasaki, and Jeff Fox Parts Unlimited, Toyota Escondido, and just everybody. Thanks.
You heard it firsthand. The goal is not to take the win, just to keep it on 2 wheels.
With Ryan Villapoto, if he can sniff that win, though, I guarantee you he'll widen up that throttle just a little bit more and go for it. Coming up 1 in motorcycle insurance. And by the all-new 2007 Tundra, the truck that's changing it all. Wednesday, the high-revving, tire-shredding, wheel-standing, two-wheeled action returns for an all-new season. Superbikes, Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific, only on Speed. Pretty barren land way out here, but it makes for a great motocross track.
Definitely does. It is a challenging event. It's really fast. There's a lot of routes come off the bikes. There's some steep hills, and still pretty hot.
Aaron with an update on Josh Grant.
3rd place has been wrapped up for Josh Grant, considering Jason Lawrence and Ryan Dungey are both hurt and out for the remainder of the season. But as you just witnessed, his last moto of the day did not go how he wanted it to. He high-sided his bike, ended up being unconscious for 3 minutes, was taken to the Asterix Medic Unit to be evaluated. They finally have released him. He did give himself a concussion. His season is over. Not the way he wanted it to be, but he is glad it's finished nonetheless.
Here's a look at our motocross format. Same as it is every week. 40 riders in the gate. 2 motos. You already saw moto number 1. Each moto is 30 minutes plus 2 laps with the top 20 riders scoring points. It's your combination between the 2 motos that decides our overall winner. Final moto of the 2007 Motocross Light season in the gate now. And there's Ben Townley with a slim chance of stealing the number 1 plate.
Very slim chance. If Ryan Villapoto gets 4 points, he automatically wins the championship.
Here's a look at our Suzuki starting grid, and of course everybody will focus on the 1 and the 101. There's a handful of guys in here, though, I guarantee you're going to see, especially some of these young riders who, in recent weeks, guys like Nico Izzy, who've really been running exceptionally well. Trey Kennard, another one.
Yeah, well, they came on here at the end of the season after graduating from the amateur ranks, and they have something to prove. They're all fired up. Other riders have been beating themselves into the ground all season.
Here we go. Final moto ready to get underway. Championship on the line. Villapoto, there you see him with the red number 1 on the outside. He's back and forth. Townley, however, in the lead, right where he needs to be. And Villapoto basically right where he needs to be. Doesn't matter if Townley wins this, as long as Ryan basically finishes this race in comfortable fashion.
Well, both of our championship contenders with great starts, doing what they have to do to stay out of trouble.
Problems for the 60th Hepler, and he's off course. Oh, and another rider down. That's Kyle Cunningham, I think, Jeff.
Looks to be, but just like those riders, Ben Townley, this moto has got the whole shot. He stayed out of all that trouble, not locking bars with anyone. This is what he needed to do a couple weeks ago, and it just did not go his way. And that's where he lost the bulk of his points in the championship when we were so close all the way through until we got to Texas. But right now he's going, okay, I'm going to go out. I'm going to finish this series up right. I'm going to try to take this win and then let everything else sort itself out. And if it's to be, then it's to be.
Villapoto now moves up to third as he gets around his teammate Brett Metcalf.
This triple step up here, the lights riders and the motocross riders on the big 450s have to hit that as fast as the bike will go. This track at Glen Helen, what is so interesting about it is that it's fast. It's like a super speedway of motocross, if you will, and it's a real horsepower track.
Here's our progressive direct hole shot replay.
And there is not a start on the circuit route that requires more horsepower and more top-end speed than this at Glen Helen.
And you can see the first one to the corner, the Kawasaki of Ben Townley. Into the whoop section.
They brought in all this sand. It's got this huge jump into these sand whoops. They coined it Life's a Beach, but it is anything but relaxing.
Was it as bad as some of the other sandy whoop sections we saw earlier this year?
Well, considering that there was a blind triple going into it and you just shifted up and hit it wide open going in, yeah, it definitely had a danger factor there.
Back out into the starting area, the first turn. Villapoto closing in here. Trying to see if he can get himself up in the second and then go after his teammate.
And you see Ben Townley already starting to check out. He's really putting in a great ride. And he has Trey Kennard running interference for him. But you know, a veteran like Ryan Villapoto is going to use his head, try to get past Kennard in a good clean spot, and then just try to stay behind Townley. That's all that he has to do at this point.
Kennard, one of those youngsters we were talking about at the beginning of the show. So much promise. Doing so very well with just little experience. Well, these big downhills just look frightening.
And you can see in the middle of the track, there's quite a bit of water. Track's dried out. It's about 95, 98 degrees here today. So in between motos, I have to throw down some water. And always in that second moto, you come down off the Mount St. Helens. It's a little bit sketchy in the middle. You try to ride the wide lines. It gets a little rough, and you have to move back into the middle. Extremely challenging track.
You didn't like that downhill? Well, here's another one to try.
And this one has got some holes in it. I'm telling you, those things go to China.
And then here's a good look at the high horsepower sections of this racetrack as well.
And watch Kennard and Villapoto here when they land off this. It's all they got and then a little bounce. If they could get another 10 feet, they could land that jump nice and smooth.
Villapoto really closing in. Kennard with a bobble. And Villapoto finds himself in second as Townley launches off another hillside. Let's go back and take a look at that pass one more time.
Villapoto with the outside line. You see Kennard get on the brakes, and Villapoto just hits no braking bumps. Nice, smooth, veteran-style pass.
Hard to believe we're already talking about Ryan Villapoto as a seasoned veteran, isn't it?
Yeah, this is the end of his second season, but you dominate and you ride in a way that he does, you earn that veteran.
Those number one points automatically make you a seasoned veteran, don't they? We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Giant RV Motocross National. We're at Glen Helen in San Bernardino, California. Round 12 of the 12-race championship season. The Toyota Motocross National Championship Trail for the AMA. Bouncing their way down the hill, here comes Brett Metcalf. He's currently in fourth. If he can get up into third, or Austin Stroop, who's right behind him, the Monster Energy Pro Circuit guys would finish 1, 2, and 3 once again here today.
We keep saying it week after week, Ralph, but man, the pro circuit guys, their bikes have been totally dominant this season, and they have the riders on the bikes that can really do something with it. Trey Kennard playing the spoiler at this point. He's a rookie, and here he is in the middle of all these veterans.
Well, and Austin Struben's a perfect point too, Jeff, and the fact is you take a look at him right there in the 981. Some guys are going to be moving around. We know Ben Townley's leaving this team at the end of this year. But then you got Austin Struben right there. So every time Mitch Payton loses a rider, he gains another competent rider, a rising star, to replace him.
Well, it's, I mean, this season you see Brett Metcalf, who's came back from so many injuries and has been really driven to get back on top of his game. And then you have the two amateur riders who just turned pro. These kids are showing a lot of speed, and they're right there running with the top lights riders in the world. So a lot of talent right now in that group.
The word smart on Ryan Villapoto's board. That's exactly what he needs to do, is just ride smart, stay where you are. If the lead comes to you, great. If not, stay in second and wrap up that championship.
And you know what? It's the best thing for him to do is to keep pushing towards the front, because when you start thinking about other things, you're not thinking about racing the bike. Keep your head in it, keep focused. Look back when you pass the checkered flag of that final moto of the season.
Let's check in with Aaron Bates with something on Trey Kennard, Aaron.
Trey Kennard really pulling it together here at the final round at Glen Helen. If you just notice, he took a 4th in the first moto. Yesterday, though, during practice, he said he was absolutely devastated. He was hating this track. He was hating everything about it. Nothing was working for him. Today, he was all smiles, and when I asked what had changed, he said all have changed. It's a brand new day. He's definitely feeling it as he's currently sitting in 3rd.
Jeff, you see Trey there, and you saw the signboard with the word regroup on there. Obviously, a lot of times you'd come around the corner, you knew what the guy was thinking already anyway. You probably told yourself that. Did you ever just get mad at what was on the signboard?
Well, usually when it's, you know, hey, you need more, you're falling back. But I tell you, the relationship that the rider and the mechanic have in motocross it's really special, because he is your right-hand man. Not only is he the guy that tightens the front axle, but he's your motivator. Each and every lap you come by, he's either giving you lap times or he's giving you words of encouragement.
Trey Kennard's going to need a little encouragement right now, because the pro circuit guys are hounding him. Meanwhile, the man who's trying to hold on to that number 1 plate sits comfortably in second. Villapoto still trying to reel in Townley while his teammates go after Trey Kennard. And we can see the Monster Energy Pro Circuit guys finish 1, 2, 3, and 4 here in Moto number 2.
Well, they've done it before. They have had a great end of the season here. And Factory Connection Honda here, Trey Kennard, since he's came on the scene, he's had some really good rides. And his mechanic's telling him to regroup, but I think right now he's putting in a great ride and just keep focused.
Townley out front, hoping that something will happen behind him that will allow this effort to win Moto number 2 to pay off huge dividends in the championship. Kennard under the Red Bull Bridge and trying to stay in front of the 2 Kawasaki's.
And Kawasaki at this race, they have been unbelievable in the past. 8 wins here at Glen Helen.
Well, you talked about this being a track that needs a tremendous amount of horsepower, and apparently they deliver that, huh?
Well, and they've delivered that the last 5 years. Kawasaki has won the lights class here. Very dominant.
What's it like sailing over these big hills?
Sometimes it's death-defying. Sometimes it scares you. And other times when you're totally locked and loaded, it's no problem. When you're going up this hill, you can just maneuver that bike, you can be on the pegs and just get the power to the ground. When you're off, when your concentration, your focus is just a little bit off, you just can't seem to find the right line. And a hill like this here, Mount St. Helens, it exploits all of your weaknesses, right? It exploits all of the weaknesses in the suspension and chassis setup also.
Well, and it showed a few for Trey Kennard as Metcalf is able to get around him and pick up the position, moving the Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki team into 1, 2, and 3. Now, the question is, can Austin Stroop get around Kennard and make it 4 Cowies up front? Here's how the pass was made.
You see Trey Kennard comes into the inside, or the outside, excuse me, and stays wide. Metcalf just finds the traction and gets the horsepower to the ground. Just stays a little bit further inside and pushes him wide.
Stroop working on Kennard, and we'll probably see these two battle each other quite a bit in the coming years.
Well, I think we should get used to it. The way that motocross riders and their their careers are, we're looking at 10 or 15 years of this.
The only one not in this scene who we expect to see battling with Kennard and Stroop will be Nico Izzy in the coming years, who's here as well. We'll be right back to Glen Helen after this. Cam as Ben Townley leads here in Moto number 2, the last round of the championship for 2007. Ever since the gate dropped here in Moto number 2, Townley has checked out.
Townley has been on rails this second moto. See quite a ways back is Villapoto. First moto, we had a great battle, and you've seen Ryan Villapoto really get a hold on this championship and said, I'm not going to give up any points. I'm going to go ahead and take another 3 points away from Ben Townley and really put himself in a great position. At this point, Villapoto just has to finish the moto in points-paying position, and he will be the champion once again.
I love that shot right there, those guys sailing over that rise like that.
And that's a new section of the track that they added this year. They really lengthened out the track and took advantage of all of the hills that are around.
Villapoto goes by through the Life's a Beach section. Here comes Metcalf, Kennard, and Stroop.
And this is one of those sections that as the race wears on, as the day wears on, the section changes. We also have a motocross class that runs in between this, the first moto of the motocross. And so these riders will come around here for that second moto, and that whole sand section will be different. So as the moto wears on, they have to learn new lines and learn a new rhythm, because there's no good way to get through there. You just kind of bounce your way through.
Reminding the riders to breathe. Well, it sounds so simple, but it's amazing how important that is and how easy it is to forget to do it.
Oh, it very much is, and I've had that on my pit board in my racing career quite a few times. And so it's all about trying to relax in a situation that is anything but relaxing.
And you can get so tense, especially when you're in a battle like this, and just forget to do it.
And this is what you train for. Okay, you can't train and you can't practice and race against all of the other riders. And what you do, what you see oftentimes on the pit board from the mechanic, maybe a little word of encouragement, but also the lap time. And so when you're out practicing and testing by yourself, you and your mechanic and the team, you're always racing the clock. And so each and every little battle that you may win on a practice day or a test session, by completing your whole moto, by doing the lap time that is necessary, maybe your fast lap or maybe a second off, every time you do that in practice, it gives you that confidence to do it here in the race.
You know, Jeff, some of the folks might be watching a motocross lights competition for the first time and see these huge hills like this one. Obviously, it's all about speed, but you have to use the brakes a tremendous amount through here. Explain a little bit of what you got to do as you're working your way down through those big hills with the brake and the throttle.
Yeah, it's interesting because as you come down the hills, there's what's called the braking bump. So it's a soft spot and then a hole develops. And as the race goes on, there's more holes, they get deeper. So if you can imagine, going straight into a curb, if you will. And so it's extremely challenging to set the chassis and the suspension up to absorb those bumps and to keep the bike flat and not have the rear end kick up, because when you're coming down those hills, rear wheel comes up, back of the bike, rear fender comes up, throttle goes off. So the whole key is to keep that rear wheel down, keep the rear fender down, then you can stay on the throttle.
Well, Mitch Payton's guys are doing it better than anybody else right now, because the Monster Energy Pro Circuit team runs 1, 2, 3, and 4 here now in Moto number 2 as Austin Stroop moves around Trey Kennard to take over 4th. And the big green team leaves everybody else green with envy here in Moto number 2. Wow, impressive.
Yeah, and what's interesting here, you have the rookie and then a veteran, a multi-year veteran, and Brett Metcalf, and those really came together here.
Everything going right for Mitch Payton's team, and a championship waiting at the finish. Now you can get the latest race results and news right on your phone with weekly green alerts from Speed. Text KX to 773333 on your mobile phone to receive free motorcycle racing text alerts. Speed Green Alerts presented by Kawasaki. Back to the racing action here at the Giant RV Motocross National. The AMA Toyota Motocross Series wrapping up the 2007 season. Ben Townley starting to catch up to some of the slower riders.
Getting into some of the lappers. It's got to be a really tough position here for Ben Townley, because unless something bad happens to his teammate Villapoto, his championship has slipped away. But he's doing what he has to do in this final moto, going out one last time, going for the win. Maybe a slight chance of winning that championship, but Ryan Villapoto's been pretty solid. Can't count on that.
No, and you know, when you think about it, I mean, Townley really hasn't made that many huge mistakes. It's just that the battle has been so tight and so competitive that every little mistake was just magnified.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I couldn't have said it any better.
There's the 60 machine of Brock Kepler, and he too will get around Kennard. With things just slipping back for Trey Kennard. He was all the way up to third, and now he finds himself back in sixth.
Well, Trey Kennard has jumped into this class here with a bunch of veterans, and he's had some great showings. Showed a lot of speed, shows that he's pretty physically fit. But you know, at the end of the season here, he's just absorbing all of this, and he's learning as he goes along. And next year, these light riders are going to have to deal with him, because he's going to have 4 months off to train, get that bike dialed in, get his head straight, come back ride Supercross and Motocross next year.
Yeah, he's a great kid. He's a lot of fun to talk to, and the great thing about it, like you said, Jeff, as we watch Townley, now they know Kennard, Izzy, and Stroop, they know what it's going to take to run at this level. The training, the bike, the speeds, they know exactly what to train for as well. You're not just guessing on your regimen.
You know, it was just a couple years ago that we've seen Ryan Villapoto come into light Supercross. Yeah, maybe he'll do okay. He was pretty good as an amateur. Came into the Motocross Championship. Yeah, it's his first year. Next thing you know, he's working on his second championship.
Yeah. The way he's going, you can imagine there's probably more in his future. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Ben Townley, who we're watching here in our Honda aerial cam, end up losing part of those 3 digits on his bike and end up with just the #1 before his career is over.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. He has worked so hard this season, and a lot of people remember, but when Townley came here to the U.S., it was a couple years ago, and he suffered a couple or 2 really bad injuries, and he was completely off the map, off the radar. And his recovery this year to come back and win the East Supercross Lights Championship and now battle Ryan Villapoto, who was clearly the man in motocross, and to you know, have the season that he has been a great recovery, and it's a real testament to his work ethic and his determination.
And that's the key. One of the things you hear a lot about Ben Townley is work ethic. He's working with Alden Baker, same guy that did Ricky Carmichael's training, and everybody says he's training every bit as hard and is as dedicated as Carmichael ever was. We'll be right back.
Friday, NASCAR
Wraps up here in one of the true hotbeds, not just in the country, but in the world, for motocross, Southern California. There's Ryan Villapoto. Boy, we've talked about training with Ben Townley, the man leading. Ryan Villapoto just rides and rides and rides and rides. When you talk to him about what he does for fun, I ride. Well, what do you do when you're not riding? Nothing, I ride.
Yeah, they train. They're extremely dedicated. All of these riders are. And this group that's all up front, they all have these trainers that are just putting them through the grill each and every week. Trey Kennard, one of the rookies. Ben Townley trains with Alden Baker, Carmichael's trainer. Ryan Villapoto, though, trains with a guy by the name of Randy Lawrence. Phil Lawrence, his younger brother, predominant pro in the 90s. And Randy Lawrence spoke with him earlier today. about what the season has been like with Ryan, and that midway through the season, when Ryan had the rock in the radiator at Unadilla, and just really just took the wind out of his sails. And so Randy said that he worked extra hard during the week to keep Ryan focused and to not give up hope. And what he wanted to do was make his days during the week harder than the weekends, where he looked forward to going to the race because that would be the easy day of the week.
Apparently it worked.
Well, he definitely stayed focused. He kept his head in it and kept charging all the way through. And just a couple of weeks ago, this championship was locked up. And the real difference was last week in Texas.
Well, and there were times, you know, to give Ben Townley credit, there were times during this championship where everybody was thinking Townley was going to be the guy. Just the way the pendulum was swinging, a lot of the momentum went to Ben Townley's side. And if it wasn't for the last week or so, it might very well have been Ben Townley's side.
Yeah, and that pendulum would swing between the first moto and the second moto, not even week to week. So this has been one of the great seasons in motocross lights competition. And even though it looks like Ryan Villapoto is on his way to winning his second championship, Ben Townley, a champion in his own right, because to battle like this and to endure what he has this season, it's a true testament to his determination and desire.
We should also give credit to the mechanics at the Pro Circuit team, because they've given these two riders great motorcycles each and every week.
There's no doubt about that there is a number of people that work behind the scenes, and the hard work is not just the rider, or not just the trainer, but all the way, the truck driver, the technicians, the suspension guys, engine guys, the managers. You also have to throw in the wives, girlfriends, parents in there too. It's a big part of someone's championship.
Austin Stroop is down. The first bobble by the Pro Circuit team in Moto number 2 here today. Back to Metcalf, who's in front of him. Let's take a look at what happened to Austin.
See him come through this inside line. Just really started getting pushed out, and Austin just loses his balance to the inside, and he gets that left foot behind him rather than in front of him. But if it's in front of him, as that bike starts to fall over, he can put his foot down and kind of try to help the bike back up to the right. But he was dragging his foot through there, maybe a little lazy at that point, not the best technique, laid it over.
Ben Townley continues to lead Motocross Championship Series. Here is Ben Townley. Jeff, he had to come out and win Moto number 2. He's led it since the gate dropped.
Well, Ben has done what he has to do here in the second moto, but it's like this chess match, and the move has already been made, but they have to play it out, if you will. And that's what's going on here late in the season, the last moto, the final laps of a summer that both of our championship contenders have worked so hard to take home that number 1 plate. But at this point, it's looking like it's going to stay on the same bike.
You can see how big a gap there is between Townley and Villapoto, but Ryan pretty comfortable in second. Doesn't need to win it, just needs to bring it on home. The championship plate will stay right where it is on his Kawasaki. Jeff, word is he's going to be back to defend that title once again in the lights class next year.
And Ben Townley, this looks like this was his last chance. He'll be jumping up to the motocross class riding a 450cc 4-stroke machine next summer, challenging the big boys.
Should be, I would guess, the 3rd and final season for Ryan in the lights class next year, and then we'll see him move on to the motocross class shortly after that, you think?
Yeah, and I'm thinking that all the other lights riders were really hoping that Villapoto would go ahead and move up and out of this class, because he won this championship his very first year. He's going to win it here the second year. And so, man, a rider like that just continues to build his confidence. And Brock Kepler, a veteran of the lights class also, I'm sure he would like to see Villapoto move up on out. This is his 4th year.
And one of his better rides here at Glen Helen is Jake Weimer, fighting out over 7th. Kyle Chisholm in there as well. Brock Tickle is in there. Tickle on the 75, blue and white riding gear.
We talked about Weimer and Tickle. Both these riders see Chisholm in there. It really battled hard all season. Early on, we seen Tickle show a little bit of, a lot of speed in Supercross, and now here you're seeing that as this year has gone on, they've figured out their training program. They've gotten stronger, and I love seeing these riders late in the season putting on that charge, because some of them might be trying to earn rides for next year still, and the team managers, team owners, still going to be out there seeing who's doing it late in the season.
Well, Ben Townley's doing a pretty good job of it late here today. Leading here at Glen Helen. We'll be back for the finish and the championship getting handed out after this. We're back to round 12, the last lap. Ready to go here to bring the 2007 season to a close. Ben Townley takes the white flag, but unfortunately for him and his title hopes, the man riding in second is Ryan Villapoto, and that's all he's got to do to win this championship.
Yeah, and you can see as Townley circles the track here, just a sense of, man, I just came up a little bit too short. Winning the moto, yeah, maybe a little consolation, but you can see that just the look on his mechanic's face, his stature when he's on the starting line before the second moto, just knew that he may win this battle, but he's not going to win the war.
The wouldas, couldas, and shouldas of the 2007 season, and they all play out on the positive side for Ryan Villapoto in the long run. And boy, I'm telling you, the difference between the two was so small. And Ben Townley, in no way, shape, or form, needs to hang his head. He rode incredibly well all season.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about that. But as we go the final lap here, it's all about the number one, Ryan Villapoto. See, Ben Townley's got a pretty big lead at this point. Neither one of these riders is pushing too hard at this point. They both know where they're at. They know that, Townley knows that Villapoto's back, riding at 70, 75%. Just make it, see that big rock there on the bottom of the screen. Things like that are what you have to steer clear of, so that there's no funny things happen here at the end of this championship.
Down these big hills one more time. Ryan Villapoto won the West Coast Championship in the Supercross Lights class earlier this year, and now the Motocross Lights Championship to go with it for a second year. Next year, he's going to be running the Supercross Lights East Coast Tour. They want to give him an opportunity to see those other venues before he ventures off to the full Supercross Tour. Probably we'll see that happen in the 09 season.
Yep, exactly right. And you can see the fans here at Glen Helen, Southern California, have been out here braving the heat. And I'm telling you, these hills out here are really steep. You have to be physically fit, not only to race here, but to also be a fan. And they're extremely appreciative of this great season that the local team, Pro Circuit, located not far down the road from here, that they've put in. It has been an incredible season, and you got to know that Mitch Payton and his crew, that they're going to be having a big party here tonight.
Well, they've earned it. It's been quite a year. They've won every championship there was to win in Lights competition. Both Supercross Lights East and West titles. Villapoto the West, Townley the East, and now the Motocross Lights Championship goes to Villapoto, and Townley's going to finish second, so they're going to really have a lot to celebrate. Checkered flag for the Moto win to Ben Townley on a fine effort here in Moto number 2, but the championship and second place is going to go to this man. Ryan Villapoto will be the 2007 AMA Toyota Motocross Lights champion. And the first man to congratulate him, the man who battled him all year long, Ben Townley. Well, the celebrating will begin, and we'll be there to capture it all for you when we come back.
Some backyards made
Racing action, want to relive the excitement? Watch all the 2007 AMA Supercross and Superbike events on speed, on demand, online. And it's all free, courtesy of Yamaha. So log on now to speedtv.com, keyword Yamaha, and get up to speed. All the riders on the track are AMA members. Are you? If not, call 1-800-AMA-JOIN or visit AMADirectLink.com. AMA Rights, Riding, and Racing. There's your Moto winner and your reigning champ, Ryan Villapoto. Back to the top of the podium. Here's the Toyota Trucks unofficial results. And the Pro Circuit guys end up taking the top 4 spots in Moto number 2.
Just an unbelievable season for them.
Here's Aaron with Brett Metcalf.
Metcalf wasn't lying when he said the second moto was on. Brent, you gave it everything you had out there. You got to be pretty pumped that this is how the season finished off for you after the way it started.
Yeah, for sure, and this is the best way I could have finished. I really wanted to get up in the top 2 this weekend. I've been third for a few, but you know, that last moto I was really happy I rode as good as I could, and that's all I had today.
That was good enough for third overall, as you see in our Toyota Trucks overall results page. Now we go down to Ben Townley, who finishes second in the championship and wins moto number 2 here today.
Ben Townley finishing the season off right. One more win to add under that belt. Last time we saw you in the lights, is there anything you would have done differently, Ben?
You know, I gave it my all. I can't say I didn't do that. I just made a few mistakes at the end of the season. It cost me bad. I said I wanted to take this championship fight all the way to Glen Helen, and I did. It's just a huge improvement on last year. Really happy about that, but it's always hard to lose a championship when you come so close.
What does it mean this season to go out the way you did opposed to last season?
It is good, you know, it feels great. I won a Supercross title, and I've been in this motocross hunt the whole year, and whole pro circuit, Monster Energy, Kawasaki team have been great. Everyone involved, for Parts Unlimited, Bridgestone, Alpine Stars, Scott, just a great team of people, and you know, I'll be moving on now. I just want to say thanks to Mitch for giving me an awesome opportunity to live my dream. It's been a great ride.
Congratulations on a successful season.
Thanks very much.
We'll see a lot more of Ben Townley as he now pursues the full-blown Supercross and Motocross championships. And here's a look at the point standings. Not a lot of points separating those two when it was all said and done. Now here's the champ, Ryan Villapoto.
The defending lights champ, Ryan Villapoto, takes it once again, and the man to do the honors, AMA's very own Steve Whitelock, series manager. Steve, present the honors.
Well, Ryan, you've worked really hard this year. You've really done a good job. You had a little setback in Unadilla. You came back through, and there you go. Probably the best prize that anyone's ever given you this year, because I gave you one last year. There you go, bud.
Ryan, defending champion, coming in this year, you knew you had your work cut out for you. How much tougher was it to defend this title than it was last year to win it?
You know, I definitely think it was tougher. Everybody said it was, and you know, I think it really is. And you know, with the points that I had to lead, and then I had the DNF at Unadilla, that set me back a little bit, and just had to come back through that, and I couldn't have done it without you know, my whole team, Monster Pro Circuit, Kawasaki, and Jeff Fox, Parts Unlimited, Mitch Payton, you know, my grandma and grandpa, my cousin Spencer, my mom and dad, and you know, my mechanic John, my trainer Randy Lawrence, and you know, just everybody on the team. They just put so much effort in it, and I'm just glad to repay them with this.
What does it mean to you to have the camaraderie that you have with Ben Townley and out there racing against him?
Yeah, you know, from the beginning I knew that we were going to be racing till the end, and you know, Ben's a strong rider and racer, and you know, we definitely put on some good races this year, and it made it great for everybody to watch, and you know, I think he's going to be riding 450 next year on outdoors, and then, you know, I'll see him there in 09.
Season's all wrapped up. Tough battle he had.
Jeff, what a year it's been. It's been a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, and what's interesting is you hear Ryan talk about all of the people behind the scenes and how much work they put in for him, and it's his responsibility to give that same effort out on the track, and he's done that this year. That's how you become champion.
We'll see him again right here on Speed at Anaheim 1. That's where the Supercross season will kick off in January, and we'll be there to bring it all to you. For Aaron Bates and Jeff Emmick, I'm Ralph Shaheen. So long from Glen Helen Raceway. Congratulations to the champ, Ryan Villapoto.